welcome to Outside the Box, everyone. This is Kate of Gaia hosting, and had a chat with Tony today, and things are looking really, really good. So you'll have lots to report when he's back on with me full time. He's kind of intermittent right now as far as links and whatever. So it's a bit of a hit and miss as far as getting him online. So I'm just waiting for Brett and for Dr. Sam Muggsy to call in as well. And I'm not seeing either of them just yet, but that's okay because rumor has it that another very dear friend of mine will be calling in as well. And this is an individual that I've had the honor of getting to know a lot about and what it is that she does and why she's so prolific at getting the information and really rooting stuff out. You'll know the voice when she shows up, so I'm just waiting for her to call in as well. Just sent her back an email reply that I got her message that she's going to try to call in tonight. So that'll be great. Haven't heard her on the air in quite a while, so I'm really looking forward to that. Now, that being said, as I wait for the guests to appear, I was having a rather interesting conversation this afternoon with Johnny Guzman of QL Television, and we were talking about the system in general. And you see, this comes up all the time when I talk to people, and see, there's no half measure with being in the system or out of the system. And as I put it to him, it's like this. If you're in bed with the whore of Babylon and you've put your thing halfway in, is she still a virgin? And are you can't be halfway in, halfway out. Sorry, you're either in or you're out. So you either mate with a whore of Babylon, i.e. the system, or you celibate, and that's exactly what the reference to being celibate is reference to. It's not about not getting married and all the rest of the crap that you see, the words that come together are Roman Catholic priests, pedophiles, but it's not just limited to Roman Catholicism. It's in all religions. It's in all positions of power where people get corrupted and what have you. So I don't draw any lines in the sand. I just kind of draw a big circle around the whole damn thing and say, hey, by your actions you shall be known. So, and besides, stop blaming it on something outside of yourself. You're the one that needs to heal. You're the one that needs to sort yourself out, and you're the one that needs to realize that you shouldn't be doing that stuff to children, raping and killing and skinning and all the rest of the stuff that goes on with it, human trafficking and stuff like that. As a human, if you are one, that's probably something you should already know. I think it was Tammy made the point of, we all start looking back to how we were when we were 4 or 5 years old, and that absolute blissful innocence that is involved. It's really easy at that point to see how this system has corrupted us so badly, and of course it's through our own free will consent. And free will consent is very simply this. Now, during the conversation with Johnny I had this morning, actually Jorge was in there too, and Ralph, and I think Tony showed up as well. But this is the ongoing question that people keep asking about, how I do this in the system, and how do I do that, and how do I do that? Okay, well, coming from someone, me, that is completely outside of the system, and I got to tell you, any use of paper fiat currency is done with great protest and only and completely out of necessity, need. You see, you've got two things you can look at. You can either be needful or you can be greedful. And what we're dealing with in the whore of Babylon, which is the system, is it's full of greed, it's full of lust, it's full of gluttony, it's full of all of the wonderful things called vices that we need to come to terms with. If you want to figure yourself out, it's quite simple. Just go down the list of the 7 deadly sins, the vices, and turn them into 7 beautiful virtues. And you can go down that list, and I've talked about this on shows in the past, you can go down that list all day long, and I guarantee you're going to stop at 1 or 2. Some people are going to stop at all of them and go, I need to look at that. I know I did, and I still look at it, and I still self-correct. Every time I have a little epiphany or whatever, something that brings me into a new awareness of me and everything around me in the natural sense, I adjust accordingly. Because I am, like Bruce Lee said, I am water. I will take on the shape of the vessel. And right now, that the only vessel I see is one of compassion, one of love, one of understanding, one of helping others. And trying to at least get them to see from the position that I'm at. And I also said during that conversation that it's not, as much as I'd love to see people just do it and say enough, throw their ID away, and say to the banks, go to hell. And if the whole planet did that, the system would last approximately 15 and a half minutes. It's as simple. You want to take a system down? It's as simple as stop signing shit. It is that simple. I mean, I could complicate it for you and say you have to fill out this paperwork and that paperwork and all the rest of it, but the only paperwork I see worthwhile of any kind whatsoever is the stuff that Tammy's putting together, which actually lays it on the line in the male-female perspective singularity that says, screw you, we understand how it works, and sorry, you can't use this special deposit anymore because I have my own daddy, right? And we talked about that on a show as well. And we'll continue to talk about it until you guys get it. And that's not a make less of, guys, so don't take it like, well, holier than thou bullshit. No, it's just a wish of mine, that's all. But I'm still waiting for the guest to show up. I'm not sure what's going on. Well, because I know Sam was going to call in on the landline, and just waiting for Brett. He's not showing online, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But anyway, I'll just keep talking until they show up, or I'll keep talking if they don't. But anyway, no problem. So another little bit of news I wanted to announce as well. I'm really excited about this. I was having a conversation actually 2 days ago with this individual, and I had suggested that Tony and myself, we go and QL Television interviews on Monday night, which leaves the Critical Mass Radio platform wide open for 2 hours, and I really hate to see it not being used because it's already there. And I had suggested to this wonderful individual, if they're interested, that I would love to give them that spot, show them how everything works, and get them on the air. And much to my what's the word I want to use here? I don't want to sound tacky. Let's just say I was elated when Greg of N5D tagged me today and said he would love to do that, and he will have a co-host with him by the name of Heidi. So I'm really, really, really looking forward to having Greg and Heidi join the truth. Well, it's not like they're joining any team. They if you don't know Greg from N5D, then I don't know rock you've been sleeping under. Just has a beautiful way of getting the word out there. Wonderful, insightful articles. Lots of information in terms of health and other related issues. Greg pretty much covers the board, so it's going to be quite the potpourri every night that he's doing shows. Starting this Monday, Greg of N5D and Heidi will be hosting their own show. I don't know what it's called yet. I'm waiting to hear what they want to call it, but they will be on Critical Mass Radio from 7 to 9 p.m. Monday nights, while Tony and I are over on QL doing the video interviews. So that's pretty exciting news. I'm really, really happy about that. It's like it's a gathering. It's just beautiful things coming together with beautiful people. So N5D Radio. Okay, that's the new show on Monday nights. Thank you, Greg. Just tag me. So N5D Radio will be coming at you live every Monday night here on Critical Mass Radio, and really looking forward to it. Thank you, Greg, for letting me know that. Okay, so still waiting for host is here. Go figure. Tony's not around. Waiting for my guest to show up, and hot on the heels of last night. Oh my God, what a show! So I guess we'll wait and see. All right. In the meantime, I do have some messages going on here, so I might as well check those and see what's up. Excuse me. I love when people use the word obtuse. I love that word. Never very often get a chance to use it. So anyway, it's a fun word. Remember, share. Okay. Legionnaire Mac, I will definitely get you in touch. Here we go. I'm going to see if I can get into the chat room, and I've been having a hell of a time getting onto the chat room at all. So where are we? Just loading up right now, guys. Yeah, so getting back to the whole aspect of system and system speak and the rest of it, I know it's a very difficult concept for people to grasp. It's very difficult for people to get the notion that they have to effectively leave everything they've ever been taught, ever known, in terms of how to exist in this world, this fictitious, illusional bullshit construct that's been built around us, and they built it that way. So it's a no harm, no foul, guys. The only time it becomes a harm and a foul is when you become fully aware of it, and you're still willing to play with Babylon. That's your own. I saw that as my cross to bear, and I'm relentless in this kind of stuff. You know, truth. That's it. There's no explanation required beyond that. That's all I search for. That's all I seek. I don't need to be right, and I don't need to be wrong. I don't care either way. And I had a whole lot of people asking me about, Opt and a few other things that have been going on, and I am getting weary. But the thing is, what I'm asking people to do more than anything else, I can be the stick in the mud, the devil's advocate, all you want, all day long. It doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is people having an objective look at something. You know, it's this. If it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, chances are it's probably a duck. And when I say that, thank you, by the way, Otis. That was I got your comment earlier today. That was beautiful. That's what we're dealing with, guys. It doesn't look like chat room's going to load up for me here tonight. Yeah, Syncrenicity not responding. Anyway, so with regards to Opt, here's the duck that I saw and see, and I have too many questions, and I'm hearing back from too many people about the rainbows and butterfly answers that they're getting for the hard questions. And again, it's not to say it's right or wrong. I don't particularly care. I don't join any groups. I don't align myself with any group of any kind whatsoever. It's like, well, look what the system tries to do. They try to brand people. If you want to see a brand, well, have a look at a badge on a cop. That's a brand. You're showing that's your brand that your master has claimed you, right? So you walk around with your little name tag, your brand, as officer such and such, and you've been branded. If you go back to the Old West, what did they used to do to prove that the cattle were theirs? Well, they take all the new cattle that were bred, and they get them all together, and they throw a beautiful chunk of metal with a label on it, a name or whatever, and they stick it in the fire and they burn it right onto the cow's hide, which I imagine probably hurts a lot. So what they've done to make it easier for us is they've just put this name tag on. Oh, looks like we have her. Anyway, I'll get back to that at some point during the show tonight, because I think it's a very critical thing. What is your brand? What is your brand name? Is that brand new? Look at the words we use. It's silliness. Hey, Patrice, how are you, hon?
Hi, I finally emerged.
Yes,
your little hibernating bear has come out of the cave to sniff at the spring melt.
It's a butterfly coming from her cocoon. Nice to have you flying. You are
what did I miss? What are we talking about? Who's on?
Well, that's what I'm waiting for. It's supposed to be Brett and Sam Muggsy. I know Brett may be having issues as far as Skype and what have you, but they're both showing, Muggsy and Brett are both showing offline right now on Skype, so I'm not sure what's up. And it was all confirmed earlier today, so again. So we'll have a little chat and see what happens, see what shows up. And if not, well, you're going to get 2 hours of me and as much as you can handle, huh?
As always, I try to keep up to date the best I can. There's a lot going on.
Oh, I know. I get your emails, and like I was saying to people earlier, I feel I'm in a very privileged position because over the last months with the emails back and forth, to your credit, you outright me to the nines. I wish I had the time to write emails like that. And I mean that in the most complimentary way. But I've gotten to know a lot about you and where you're coming from and where your perspective is generated, and you just keep piling on the credentials, So it's pretty good. It's like it's like a chili that you just keep adding stuff and it keeps getting better and better. Anyway, there you go.
Yeah, let it stew.
Yeah, let it simmer. Marinate.
Yeah, simmer in the good way. Yeah, not stew, simmer in a good way. Exactly, low flame. Yeah.
So what's up? What's up with you, kiddo?
Oh, I'm just trying to, I've been doing my winter hibernating thing to get myself through all these changes, keeping myself in a regenerated mode, in alignment with the stars and my own life and my own mission and what's happening there, being a part of the change and visioning the good stuff. So that requires a lot of energy. It also, continuing to shine the light, like you said, the light warrior. I like the light warrior term as opposed to the light worker term.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of like, well, do you let everything around you stimulate you from the outside in, or do you generate from the inside out? A light, a leading idea, a leading passion about where we need to expose, not to harm those who are doing wrongdoing, but to put them in check. And
it's just about putting the light on.
Generating that light, it takes a lot of energy, to do light worker stuff or light warrior stuff.
And you do it very well, because, going back and forth, emailing stuff, and the situation, of what you've been going through, and the stalwart.
Yeah, right. Because I've been waging a sort of expose 2,000 miles away from where I left, so I'm doing it at arm's distance. So I'm not, I stay out of harm's way more or less, although I continue to lob, little balls of flame over the wall, as it were.
Yeah, it's an intercontinental ballistic Patrice.
Right, exactly. So my effects are still, being felt by many, because if I'm writing to you, you can imagine how many other writings I'm doing elsewhere, because I'm in contact with investigative journalists, I'm in contact with other people, I'm in contact agitating, both in Washington and in New England on certain legislative things, trying to make them change. I keep screaming abolition. I'm an abolitionist. Like, we need to abolish the judiciary because it's run by an international syndicated criminal enterprise, and there's just no fixing it. We need to just put padlocks on the door and put a consent decree and shut it down and build new and let the people do their thing, because it's not going to be fixed. Especially, like what happened with Dean recently. That's just so ludicrous. There's no, that can't be fixed, in my opinion, Kate.
Yeah, well, what they have to do is, you're absolutely right, it is about abolition of the corruption system, and all of the foreign agents that are members of the Bar Society need to be deported back to their country of origin that they've sworn allegiance to. And it's going to be a very crowded square mile in the city of London.
Divested of their ability to maneuver here. Like, they love to interfere with us, right? One of my passions, of course, has been the Aaron Swartz thing. He's an icon. I have a lot of emotional passion behind that, personal reasons why his scenario upsets me. So being an icon for that type of bullying somebody literally to death, I think it's really interesting that, they want to persecute, prosecute, criminalize, pathologize the very thing that they're doing to us all the time. We're trying to use free radio, we're trying to use free press, we're trying to talk, we're trying to use the phones, and they can do all this hacking, interference, hijacking, interrupting its service, but that's not criminal. If we want to expose information or do freedom of information or whatever, they're going to badger somebody like Aaron literally to his death.
Yeah,
but that's not criminal.
It's really a bunch of spoiled bully brats in kindergarten that are trying to take over the playground because they can't play with the other children nicely. They want to steal all their toys. And
we can do it, but you can't. And I'm like, all right, look, so when we try to expose Kate, and I've talked to you a lot about voice on email, right? Like, one of the things I keep coming back to with you, my relationship with you, is you are a larger voice for those who don't have one in two ways. One, because you give us a chance to have voice if we come on your show, because the door's always open. Two, even when we don't speak, you're a voice for us. You're a voice for those who don't know how to find their voice, or don't have the courage yet, or are not strong enough to stand on their own clarity, because they're doing internal work that's invisible, because everyone has the personal journey, right? And then you have your contributory, in what way am I participating, in what way am I engaged in both the dismantling and the rebuilding, okay? So I'm an engineer by training, by trade, by experience. No engineer in their right mind takes a condemned building or a dysfunctional bridge or something that's a hazard to the public and allows it to continue. We put up orange cones, we say detour, public hazard, don't go that way, it's not safe, it's not a bridge over troubled waters, it's dangerous, and we create a detour to a new path because we're building a new bridge over the waters maybe a couple miles up the road. And so this, like with the judiciary, and I've used this analogy, I'm like, nobody in their right mind with such a public hazard, and I'm of the opinion that it's a public hazard. The attorneys, the judiciary, the criminal enterprise, them being allowed to continue to do what they're doing with no recourse, no honor, is a public hazard. It's harming people. And it poses a hazard because people think that they can just cross over, or I can go into a court, I'm going to get justice. They're not. And so I want to put up orange cones everywhere and say, detour, don't go there, it's dangerous, and stop labeling us as the danger. See, what they do is they get the drones, they do the stupid, they do the fear, they do all this hysteria. They're going to target and label us as dangerous, they're going to persecute and prosecute us as terrorists, they're going to, jack us up for no reason. And really, they're the ones who are causing the harm. They're the ones who pose the public safety issue. And so we can, people are like, oh, well, you want violent overthrow. I'm like, no, I'm not saying throw bombs and destroy things in a violent overthrow. I'm saying dismantle a dysfunctional public safety hazard and build new. And while you're building new, put up the orange safety cone and say, don't go there. Danger, warning. It's an orange cone. I mean, it doesn't have to be violent. We can dismantle and do right warrior work and take a ball and chain and by deliberate design bring it down. But it doesn't have to be a destructive thing where we level everything around it in its near to it as it was exploding it in a violent way. It doesn't need to come down violently. It just needs to come down. Right? So there's a difference. There's a difference.
I totally agree, and that's one of the things that we're advocating. It's not about armed rebellion and all the rest of this crap that they're trying to push people into.
Right, they're trying to provoke the response. They're trying to provoke a forced response because they're going to use violence on us and try to provoke us to come back at them with force. Like with Dean. I was listening to a show. He got into a fight. He got into a scrap with the cop because the cop was beating on him.
Yeah, again, here's the golden rule, and I do want to bring this up, Patrice, because people need to understand this. The golden rule works both ways. You see, everything that we've been taught has been a duality, that it applies in one direction. So let's put it both ways here. If someone, by intent, because the intent has to be there first, always the spiritual intent, what you think, comes first before the action. All the actions are a proof of your thoughts. That's why in their fictitious courts, at least they get one part right. They have to prove the intent. Right? Was the intent there to harm, willy-nilly kind of thing? And of course, when their own do it, I do have to say this because this was just, I laughed at the sickness of it, and I mean that in a very grotesque sense of laughing. Okay. I believe it was in Texas, a cop who had been on, leave, we'll call it, I guess, disciplinary leave for 6 months, with pay, of course, got fired from his job because he went against policy, okay, of the policy. I'm not talking.
He did something. Okay.
Against the policy, not what he did. What he ended up doing was. He was chasing an unarmed 25-year-old and ended up ramming into his car and shot 41 bullets into the car. I think 3 or 4 hit the individual, who ended up killing him. And it was use of unreasonable force and something about he did something wrong about their chase policy or pursuit or whatever. But it had nothing to do with the fact that he murdered a man. Had nothing to do with that. He murdered a 25-year-old kid in cold blood.
Right, and we're going to gloss over that. We're going to pick on the fact that he had no reason to be in pursuit, right? That was his wrongdoing, was the pursuit, not the murder.
Yeah, so this way it whitewashes the murder off the books, right? And of course,
it sanitizes the entire episode.
Exactly, and of course
in a very sick way, in a pathologically twisted way.
And always the cops will always trump up the charges because they get commissions on it. That's why they're commissioned officers. You know what commissions are, salespeople? Okay, as long as you know what a commission is, you'll understand it now. Here we have individuals that will trump up charges. Like, for example, the cop that jumped Dean, he jumped Dean. Of course, will be resisting arrest and assaulting a peace officer. Okay, let me see. I stand there, get punched in the mouth, and I end up with a charge of assaulting a police officer. How the hell does that work? Because that's how the system works. That's why it needs to be dismantled from the inside out. It needs to. It needs an enema of enemas.
Right. No, but we see these vignettes all over the place in the news. I mean, we had one in Rhode Island where a young woman was cuffed. She was sitting in the curb. She's 110 pounds soaking wet, and we've got this 6-foot, cop takes his foot and karate kicks her to the face. She's sitting on a curb with her hands cuffed, doing nothing, maybe mouthing off, but he hauls off and kicks her in the face. It's captured on film, and we tried very hard to get this guy, not only taken up the force out of uniform, arrested for the abject, assault and battery of a person sitting there. She didn't even have a chance to fight back the way Dean did. She got kicked in the face.
And that is becoming more commonplace every day. I mean, I've lost count of the videos of cops abusing people just because they're walking around with their shiny badges, their brands, if you will, that says, I belong to this master, I belong to that master, my master says I can do this, and I'll get treats if I do it right. And it really is that dog mentality. I mean, the elites even refer to all of the military and all the cops and all the rest of it as their dogs. And when the dog's usefulness is done, don't think it's going to be given a nice big bowl of food and kept. No, it'll be tossed in the same FEMA camps that they were corralling their fellow brother and sister. We're not talking people here. We're talking fellow humans. And this is a repeat of history yet again in an even more lethal way. And this is what people are tired of. And the beautiful thing that I'm seeing is you're not getting this provocation where people are reacting violently. They are standing their ground, and that's exactly what's holding these guys at bay and bringing them out into the light. And there's more and more getting revealed. You emailed today about the UN rapporteur, or
the rapporteur. Yeah, exactly. Sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, did you want to expand on that a little? I thought it was a beautiful piece of information.
I just came across it. I don't have a lot of detail to share besides that paragraph or two that I sent you. That there's a call for that. But it's just happening. What you're pointing out is that it's happening at the local level. It's happening at very high global levels, right? So for example, what you're saying, and it ties to like what Dean said. Because I'm arrested, the rest of the freedom movement people didn't scatter and scramble and hide under rocks. They all came out and wrote and petitioned for me and showed up and, this and that. He goes, we're not scrambling anymore. Like with the girl who got kicked in the face, it wasn't, even though we were outraged, there wasn't a violent provocation, like you say, a violent thing that caused us to then, go into belligerent actions. No, there was petition in the court, we filed the thing, we show up in court and say, get rid of this guy off the force, we sue, and try to get him locked and dealt with, disciplined, and forget you. We don't want you on the streets. You're not, a peace officer type of thing. So there's that, and then even going back, and and I have to say, even though other people may disagree with my viewpoint on this, from an international standpoint, and of course I have other things that I'm working on related to the I've been tracking the banking thing a lot. I've been agitating a lot about the banking and the funds, because even just to sidestep for a second what you said before about intent, even in the insurance and bond and surety language that they use under risk assessments and stuff like that, one of the differences between negligence or accidental or misdemeanor or whatever harm and criminal harm is intent. So once you prove intent, when you intend to do something by contract practice, or you intend to do something by repeat performance, or you intend to do something because you said you would, or it's written in your procedures to gang up on someone, make sure you have that circulating police training thing. Make sure you have backup. You need 12 people if you're going to approach a person that's got a Freeman sticker in the window or something like that. I mean, like they're saying that they're going to gang up. So the idea of intent is what defines the difference between a civil sort of infraction and a criminal infraction. It is this idea of intent. So if you perk that all the way up to leadership or international historical events, post 9/11 activities, rendition, and things, the stuff that I sent you was an article basically that they want to hold Tony Blair, they want to hold George Bush. There's a lot of movement to prosecute leaders, not unlike the post-World War II Hague Convention type stuff. And I believe that the courage and the emboldening sort of, we can do this, or we can ask for this, or we can put this on the table. We want to go back and prosecute leaders that are no longer in leadership positions, but we've gone back and we believe that they did these things, so crime's already happened and now we want to charge them, is because of Kevin's work. I know a lot of people are poking at that, but I don't really, he brought this to the front that if you're at the highest level or you're at the lowest level, we can still get accountability. We can get accountability at any level. The question is, how do we do that? What are the mechanisms in place? What is the dialogue around that? What is the response collectively that enables us to have a strength in numbers and a strength in moral fortitude to take an action that's actually going to compel performance that, yeah, you did a wrongdoing, yeah, you're going to get locked up. I don't care who you are. So how do you get that at any level of the strata?
Well, that's exactly the point. And what we've got to here, the point I see it that we have gotten to here, is that you have a lot of these useful idiots, call them politicians, lawyers, judges, cops, whatever the hell you want to call these guys that are in feigned positions of power. What you have is you've got a bunch of drunkards with this power thinking that they have complete immunity. And, of course, being part of the boys' club, they will, just write laws around it to absolve themselves of any crimes, and they move along. But sorry, those days are over. We're
right. And that idea of running around fast and loose with the rules, with immunity and with impunity, was also at the heart of my article to you about the next chapter with Aaron again. Now, this is twice that U.S. Attorney Ortiz has come out, and now Eric Holder has come out and said, yeah, okay, we kind of targeted Aaron. Oh, yeah, well, we kind of persecuted him, not prosecuted him. It was a victimless crime, okay? First of all, it wasn't a crime. It was a civil matter. It wasn't a criminal matter. Although they tried to twist it into one. And then they badgered the poor man. I mean, like, oh, we were only going to put him in jail for a few months. Really? Well, then why was Ortiz coming after him, threatening him, badgering him? You talk to his domestic partner, and she's like, he was so incredibly under siege, psychologically and emotionally, that he wouldn't even talk to me, his closest, most intimate partner, right? And she will tell you this and say, he was so under siege by what they were doing to him, and he believed he was going to jail for 35 years or for life or who knows what, that he would never, have his freedom again or his work or his life passion because they were just going to lock him up and throw away the key. It put him under such psychological duress. The question is out, did they kill him or did he kill himself? But still, there's many hands at work in Aaron's death, Kate.
Oh, I know. We've talked about this via email.
Explain to me, because he came out now. Eric Holder says, well, we handled it right. At the same time that he's answering Senate confirmation hearing questions about Brennan, that, well, are there cases when the president can just target somebody in their house when they're having coffee and kill a person, inside the United States? Well, maybe. Yeah, well, because you have an attitude that permeates from the very top of leadership all the way down to your local lawyer in traffic court, district court, or family court that believes that they can bully and intimidate because that's the climate. You can bully and intimidate and totally usurp a person's dignity to get them to plead to something they didn't do, or badger them into psychological confusion, or emotionally devastate them by taking their kids, any number of things, foreclosing their home, and doing extrajudicial stuff outside the court, which involving subjected to being followed, and all that other crap targeting stuff, which is true. When you become a targeted individual, it's a whole other level. People who haven't been through it don't really understand how much pressure that exerts on your psyche, on your being, on your emotional health, and stuff like that. And because it's happening in all layers, they believe, and because we can't even get them disciplined, they believe they can run with immunity and impunity like that. I never got more targeted than after I endured 1 year of it and finally went to the disciplinary board and tried to get it stopped. And that is when I got targeted even more for having filed a disciplinary complaint. They got away with it, no problem found. And that unleashed them to increase the intensity and the frequency and the types of activities they were doing on me. So I couldn't get round one stopped. Ha ha ha. Now we're going to ratchet it up and turn the flame up on you. This is what you get for complaining.
Yeah, this is what you get for exposing our fraud, our corruption.
Right. Treatment of you, well, we were just tricking you. Now we're really going to get you. It's
well, again, that's standard operating procedure for system, though, right? So, somebody wakes up, and I'm another example of it, where somebody wakes up and becomes a threat. I mean, I exposed all the bank fraud right down to the core, and that involves all corporations. Which again, I go back to Opt and I say, guys, give your heads a fucking shake, okay? UCC is Uniform Commercial Code. It's all merchant. Remember what happened to the sailors that followed the sirens, the mermaids? And they got dashed on the rocks. And okay, so exactly. So let's look at the word merchant. That's the chant of the sea. Mermaid, merchant.
I'm joking with you now.
No, I know. It's all good. But that's exactly what they do. Is they marginalize, and of course they're going to come at me at my weakest point, which is my heart. So they marginalized me, destroyed my family, stole my home, all at gunpoint. And how dare I stand up to them yet again and going back to claim my land, because the only way they could have done what they did, they had to wait for me to walk off that land. And unfortunately, I had to take my daughter to a birthday party that night, and the rest they say is history, right? But no, it's all about marginalization. I committed the heinous crime of driving my daughter to a party and got kidnapped in front of my house, literally at gunpoint.
Right. I did the same thing. I went to a public violin concert, whatever. We get dragged into these things. So, you go and do what you think is normal, what should be normal, free, feel free to move around about the country, countryside, and you get jacked up. I mean, like with Dean, he was going to the grocery store. I mean, these... they registered me as a dangerous society, and so when I left and went on my summer sabbatical, I was supposed to appear. I called in from someplace, in Nebraska or whatever, and the judge was like, you didn't have permission to leave. I'm like, by who? Who said I needed your permission to do anything? To live, work, travel, vacation, stare at the stars. When did I need your permission to live or stay or work or do or go anywhere?
And I want to clarify this point for everyone listening. I haven't used this one in a while, but I really need to bring this to the fore. And this is what Patrice is talking about. What I want everyone to do is remember this morning when they got up, okay? And you probably had to go pee. Now, most normal human function, yes, a night of sleep will fill your bladder.
Right.
Did you or did you not call the local chief of police to ask permission if it was okay for you to, go to the bathroom? Pretty much like
I'm sure that judge that registered me falsely as a danger to society in a statewide system, making sure that the defendant knows it carries criminal penalties should she so much as sneeze the wrong way. I'm not going to stick around for that. I'm sorry.
No, definitely not.
You know, and then because I shocked them, they never thought I would leave because, of course, my daughter was there, my mom was there, my friends, you know, or why would I up and leave? Then it's like, well, you didn't have permission to leave. So I have a review date, but I'm 2,000 miles away by the time the review date comes. So I call in. Oh, well, you don't have permission to appear telephonically. I'm like, well, I filed a motion 30 days prior to the hearing that you selected on your calendar.
Moron.
Okay.
You know, but
you know, it's just that the clerk hung the phone on me. She says, I'll get back to you. I call back again. She says, you didn't have permission to leave. The judge is not going to allow you to appear telephonically. So they held the hearing. She says, we have to have a motion. Or we've got a hearing on your motion to appear telephonically. So then she denies my appearance telephonically because I'm not there in person to argue why I need to appear telephonically. That was
okay. Well, here's a living example. You know, as a kid, I remember getting up and you know, walking out of the classroom, and teacher asked, "Well, where are you going?" And I says, "Well, I have to go to the washroom." This is, "Well,
you need a bathroom pass."
Hang on. Oh, it gets better. It gets better. You're talking to Kate, remember? Okay. And looking back, I go, I didn't get permission. She says, "Yeah, you're supposed to ask for permission to go to the bathroom." I said, "No, my body is telling me that I have to go, and I'm going. Thanks."
Right.
I don't need my body's telling me. I don't need someone else to tell me I need to go. I'm going because my body says I need to go. And unless you want to,
I'm going to take care of my natural self. I need to. You know,
but you see how they implant it so young, where you have to put your hand up to go to the bathroom. Fuck that guy.
Exactly.
Just go.
Exactly.
And better yet, and if they want to make a big deal of it, just stand there and piss your pants, skirt, whatever. Who cares?
Right. Exactly.
And now where are you going?
Again.
Now
anyway,
where are you going?
Of course, I had people in the court, you know, witnessing what was going on, and they told me. And I said, well, what happened? They're like, well, after they hung up on you, she said that they don't have a way to handle a telephone call in the court with people. This has been going on for 25 years. Telephonic access has been around forever. It's not a big deal. And
since Graham Bell,
Yeah, no, I had several people in the court, you know, watching for me, and they're like, oh, well, but they had the hearing. I said, the hearing on what? Right? They're like, yeah, that's what they discussed, that they were going to deny your motion to appear telephonically because you weren't there in person to argue why you needed to appear telephonically, and, oh, by the way, you had no permission to leave in the first place.
Sorry, I have to go to
like, okay, well, screw that, you know.
I have to go to the bathroom now. Have a nice day, though, eh? And really, that's the only position you need to take. And I do like making it simplistic, because seriously, guys, if you didn't bother to call in to the mayor or the chief of police or whoever to ask for permission to go pee, please apply that rule, you know, liberally throughout your life. If you're not harming anyone, it's none of anybody's business, and I mean that in the most merchant, literal sense. Sorry, if you're going to stop me, it's going to cost you. You know, you want to get into contract here. I've got no problem with it. Sorry, you can't afford me, and all I need to do is pee. So, you know, make your choices. That's one of the things. I don't know if you've caught much of Tammy Pepperman on her show when she's been hanging out with me on these, but she makes it abundantly clear, you know, who her master is, and it certainly isn't anyone outside of her.
Right, exactly. See, I had been so beaten down prior to that case that I was, you know, highly victimized and in a victimized state of mind for so long by them that when I finally stood up and refused to be their victim anymore and got my car and drove, you know, left, I said, no, I'm not. I'm just not going to do this anymore. I'm not ever going to step foot in your court again. I'm not going to do it. And you're not going to tyrannize me. You're not going to tell me, prescribe how I should live and where I should go. And when, you know, have this thing hanging over me so that any cop at any coffee shop can jack me up for any reason because I'm registered in your database as some danger to society. For what? I committed no crime. I have no substance abuse. I threatened no one. I carry no arms. What are you talking about? Right? So, you know, it's the political persecution like they did to Dean. It's the political persecution like they did to Aaron. It's the political persecution that they did to you, to Santos, to all of us. I think any of us that dare to stand up and speak out, stand out, they were going to try to squash us. And, you know, she goes, well, I don't know where you are. How do I know that you're not calling from some phone down the street? I said, don't pull that on me. I said, you are looking at your caller ID right now. You know darn well what phone number I'm calling from. And it's showing up from some phone in Nebraska. And I put the community health nurse on the phone. I said, matter of fact, I'm in a community center using their phone to call you because I was so anxiety-ridden about trying to appear telephonically in some court hearing when I didn't even know what was going on, but I didn't want to be absent. I said, here, talk to her, right? So I had a witness with me, Kate, right? So, and put her on the phone. And she's like, where are you calling from and who is this? And I'm like, you can see the caller ID. Don't lie to me. You can look at the phone records and know darn well where I called from, Kate.
Absolutely, and again, this is the lunacy of the system and how badly programmed these low levels are. And I'm not talking low lives; I'm talking low levels. I mean, these people are given just enough information to go through their day. It's like my cousin mentioned to me years ago, and it always stuck because it was the truth. He said, what the system does is they give people enough, intelligence in terms of training and what have you in order to run the machines, and nothing more.
Right, but it's all this little secret stuff where this one only knows that much, and this clerk, oh, well, I don't know anything about that. The whole public pretender routine that they do. Well, I wouldn't know anything about that. Hold on, I'll get someone else,
Yeah.
I don't know anybody else. I really don't want to play your game. Click.
Yeah, I know. I'm just going to give you a heads up here. Since I tried to load up the Sync chat room, my internet has frozen. So I'm going to. It doesn't generally affect Blog Talk as we come through their server, but I'm just going to try to get it because I can't tell if anyone's trying to call in or not right now. So I'm going to just see if I can close.
Am I going to be knocked off?
No, it should be fine.
Okay.
I'm just going to restart the program, and that should be fine. No, I've actually been completely internet hacked right off the screen and still doing the show. So, again, it's a dedicated server with Blog Talk, so I'm very grateful that it's not dedicated to my own platform. So we get to use a third party. Isn't it great? the only time third party is actually useful.
I just continue to gather snippets around the world, connect them, and hand them off to people. Sometimes I do regurgitation, like I did with you. I sent you an article about the rapid tour and that kind of movement, which is like, well, yeah, we need to start going after these head states because Iceland did it. They rounded up 97 people. Russia has done it. They rounded up some Russian mob leaders in recent months. It is happening in spots. Yeah. So now we need to get Bush, we need to get Blair, we need to get the whole post 9/11 thing. The U.S.-UK thing has got to stop. And even at the local levels, like in the New England area between Boston, New York, Washington D.C., the whole East Coast is rife with mob elements, human trafficking. It's very bad. The courts are totally wrapped up in a lot of that stuff, maybe more than most in the center of the country where you have pockets of it. But there, it just seems to be so systemic and serial and codified and just the way it is. We've been trying to hunt down a couple of people who've lost their children in the seas, from human trafficking. The kids have been had evidence of sexual abuse, being used as targets in pornography, the computers, the evidence, everything was there. Went to this guy, come to find out the federal judge on the case, let the kid be taken to Germany because he's on the take. He's getting money from the DCIF. He swept the records under the rug, and before you know it, the kids are gone, and this mother hasn't seen her two boys in 5 years.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I mentioned it already or not, but I think it's worth mentioning again. I mean, they're executing bankers in Iran, for committing fraud. I mean, these guys that are in areas where that's not likely going to happen at the drop of a hat can count themselves lucky.
In Iran, it's death penalty for them. They're the best. I know what story you're talking about with the bankers. I'm not sure if I sent it to you or not, but they're actually they have them on. It'll be a death penalty. They're convicted, but it's death penalty for them. They'll put them away for life in prison or get paroled at age 60 and go live in some retirement community. It's not how they do. Yeah,
and it's not a coincidence that the Pope steps down and Vatican gets hit with lightning, and then a quick earthquake shortly after he moves to Castle Falfo or something, whatever the hell it's called, the other enclave, and then of course the Queen getting national
Hugo Chavez died, and now there's a bunch of dots all over the world going on.
Oh yeah, there's lots. There's lots going down. Yeah, we got a bit of noise in your call, by the way. I just thought I'd mention that.
I can't do anything about that.
I know.
To try to reorient myself so that I'm speaking. Is this better?
Oh no, we're hearing you okay. It's just I'm just letting you know it's not the best connection, but it is a connection, and I'm quite happy with that. Thank you.
Okay, because I can't. It's a landline payphone. Actually, what I was talking to my mom earlier in the day, and I told her it's a stainless steel shoebox, bizarro payphone, hardened box that I found, a rare out of the matrix. I haven't dissolved into it yet, but
I was going to say there's a bit of a oxymoron, right? Talking on outside the box, inside a box.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like in this. Yeah, I was like, wow. I looked at it. I was like, is this thing for real? And I pushed buttons. I got a dial tone. I'm like, wow. I found a rare bird, an exotic bird in the land of penguins.
Too funny. Again, there is a lot of stuff going on right now, and it can't be ignored. I mean, that report came out that they're going to be looking a lot closer at the Blair gang. That's all the Bushes involved as well. When you start doing the background checks on the German family, can't remember their name, begins with S. The Bushes are a German family. Just Nazi transplants. Brett went into that in fairly good detail, but I mean, all the histories are there if you want to go looking for them. I don't just say this stuff off the top of my head. These are things that I've looked at, seen the photographs, seen Martin Bormann hanging out with some of the young Bush clan and all the rest of it. I mean, what we have in the United States is just a transplant of the Third Reich moved to the Fourth Reich, which if we can't take you by invading, we'll take you by subversion, and it's a standard Sun Tzu art of war technique, right? But what they weren't well, I'm sure they were expecting it. I mean, given the coronavirus and all the rest of it, but the level of solidarity that people are showing in the peaceful resolve has got these guys shaking in their boots. And I hazard to say that there's going to be one or two jackbooted thugs that are going to come crashing through the wrong door, and they're going to find themselves outside that door again due to the shotgun blast.
Exactly, and that's funny because in one regard, I'm listening to you talking. I'm like, so a bunch of us light warriors are sitting here in the peace, rising up, standing up, speaking out, and giving voice. And behind all of us that are standing in the breach peacefully and speaking out peacefully, and with assertion, with righteous anger, with righteous justice, speaking out the truth that needs to be told. Behind us, and I'm happy for this, I have, a little peace flag in my window, and everywhere I go, I've noticed all the police chiefs and sheriffs and the 10 statewide net around me know who I am, because I've sent a lot of notices, as we talked about in the fall when I was on your show back in the Marine State. So I make myself known. I make myself known that I'm at peace. I make myself known that I also speak out. Just because I'm at peace doesn't mean I'm gagged. I'm not gagged and bound. I'm living in peace, and I'm setting right. Behind me, Kate, is all these people who understand the Second Amendment. So I don't carry the arms, but I'm telling you, everyone around me does.
Yeah, and we're trying.
I'm just happy to be a little small town, polite mountain town, full of guys with guns on their hips and women with guns on their hips, and they just passed a law that they're going to arm the school teachers. So their response to Newtown was not, take all the guns. It was like, let's see, how do we empower the teachers? Let's train them all and give them arms. Okay. They didn't need to lock down the school. What they just did was arm the teachers. I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah, but even then, those are the last people I'd want armed anyway. But I
don't want them armed, but I don't want them living in fear, locking down the schools. The children are in little prisons all day, every day for 8 hours.
Yeah, well, that's what they are anyway. That's the point I'm making, right? So
exactly, I understand that part, but I'm addressing that. I'm addressing the response mechanism, the whole sense of response. They put this thing out, everybody goes crazy, take the guns. I'm like, well, no. It goes back to what you were saying. It goes two ways. If this cop is giving Dean a left hook, why is Dean not allowed to defend himself and pin the guy's arms and say, stop hitting me?
Exactly, but again, there's the hubris of the system, thinking that, well, we know best, and our goons will make sure that what we think is best is enforced at the end of a gun or at on the heel of a jackboot. And what we have here, and I've listened to enough, cops that are, decent individuals that they're equally afraid of these, as one lieutenant called them, jarheads. These are guys. I mean, there was I don't know if you caught the videos or not. There was a beautiful, someone had sent around this beautiful series. I think it was about 8 or 9 different DHS, those illegal roadblocks that they're setting up, trying
the
to
checkpoints.
The checkpoints. Anyway, there was one punk that you could he reminded me. Do you remember that cartoon with the 2 dogs, the big bulldog and the little dog? Hey George, he's my friend. He's my That's exactly what this cop reminded me of, because the guy wouldn't answer his questions, so he puffs up his chest like some fucking peacock, right? And then he goes, well, he gets on the radio and blah blah blah, tries to sound like this uber military.
Now you're being. I just lost you, Kate. I don't know if I'm off or if you've been dropped. So I'm speaking because Kate has currently disappeared from at least my ear. So I don't know if I'm still on the radio or if Kate can hear me or if she knows she's been stomped on now. I don't know. I don't know whether I'm online or not. So if the listening audience is out there, this is Patrice. I've been sort of in winter hibernation. Those of you who are listening to Kate's show back in September, October, remember me as the international postal money order incident lady. So with the whole boxing of the signature and not, allowing, a hypothecation to go on and testing sort of that whole thing, bringing to light the truth of that. And then I disappeared for the winter. I've been hibernating in the mountains, kind of doing my own personal rejuvenation, like a bear, sleeping through the winter. Kate is gone. I don't hear anything, but I might try to hang up and dial back in, but I don't know if I'm the only one on the radio right now. I don't even know if I'm on the radio right now, because Kate is completely gone. No one else is on. Talking to nothing, unless I'm talking to listeners. Since I don't have control of the board, I have no way of knowing if somebody wants to join the conversation. Let's see. I think I'll try dialing back in.
Okay, just as I got reconnected, I just lost Patrice on the call. Yeah, it seems that every time I say Deputy Donuts, people get out of joint and they like to hack Skype. But anyway, Patrice, if you can hear me, try to call back in, love. I'm here, and it's all good. I was kind of hoping you'd just keep talking. But anyway, no worries there. But to finish off the thing that I was saying, if anybody could in Skype that's tuned in, could you give me a quick tag? Let me know you're hearing me okay? You gotta love this. That's the other thing I miss with Tony, because I've always got a backup on the board when he's there. So somebody just called in. Let me see here. Who we got? Hello.
Hi, it's Muggsy.
Muggsy, how are you doing? Yeah, you got a bad line there, I guess.
No, I am being hacked. Every computer, even my landline. As soon as I mention it, they usually stop.
Yeah, I just got zapped on Skype as well. We have Patrice back in the call now. So, wow. Anyway, welcome. Good to have you, Sam.
Thank Thank you. I'm going to mute myself until this thing normal. Oh, look, see, it already goes.
Yeah.
Well, kind of. You guys go ahead. I'll listen.
Okay, yeah, if you want to mute on your end, and as soon as you hear that noise, get going. Just jump in at will, okay, hon?
Thank you.
No worries. All right, Patrice.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, just got a lot of interference tonight. I'm not sure if
well, they don't like what you and I talk about. I mean, Kate, sometimes I went through a period in the winter where every attempt I made to email you got bounced, returned, hacked, or whatever on me for like 2 months straight in the winter. Back in December, November, December.
We were having a lot of fun. I remember that.
I couldn't communicate with you at all. I mean, the phone, you know.
Oh, unbelievable.
Give me voice. They don't want you to expand my voice because I've been going after, state officials and exposing, the laundering through Wall Street and, following up on my 300 pages of affidavits to the Special Litigations Office in, D.C., whatever, insisting that they come into the state and do something about it, like clean house totally.
Okay, excellent. And thank you, Wanda. Just so Muggsy knows, I have put you on hold because it was still getting a lot of interference. So I've got my Skype open, obviously. If you can tag me, Sam, and let me know if you hear any difference in the call or whatever, and I can unmute you because it was overriding everything that we were doing as well here. I just wanted to finish off that little scenario there, but there's Deputy Donuts with his chest all puffed up, and he gave the guy in the car gave the supervisor the what for too. Then of course Deputy Donuts, he jumps in and there we go. Yeah, okay, no problem, Muggsy. Okay, she just tagged me on Skype. Here when you're ready, sweetness. Anyway, so basically, as soon as the supervisor, finished saying something, he's in there like, yeah, what he said, kind of thing. It was the most ridiculous bullshit display of exactly the peacocks I'm talking about, and it's a bunch of jarheads walking around thinking they're empowered like God because they throw a 9mm penis extension on their hip. Throw a shiny badge on, and they say, I'm so and so's dog,
Right, and they're like, would you do me a favor and pull over to the checkpoint? No, thank you.
No, I'm good, thanks.
No, thank you. My favorite one is like the one guy in the window. He's like, am I being detained? Well, I need to see your. Am I being detained? Well, I need you to pull over. Am I being detained?
I know,
I was like cracking up.
My favorite one was the last one when the guy, when he's driving up, says, "You American citizen? Are you an American citizen? Yeah. Well, you got some ID?" And he's grilling the Deputy Donuts with his own questions.
Are you an American citizen? Right? Do you have ID? Well,
and the best one. Where are you going today?
Where are you going to? Where are you been? Where are you headed?
Yeah, where are you headed?
What's going on?
And then it says, have a nice day, right?
Right, okay, you're free to go. Oh, I'm free to go? Yes.
You're an American citizen? Again, and you got to start dealing with these monkeys the same way. And nothing against, the Hispanic guys that are working the border, but, it's actually beyond laughable when you've got some guy that is obviously, an immigrant. There's now a proud American citizen. You are the resistance, right? Says Alex, right? But anyway, and he, basically talking to him like I would expect someone like that at a Mexican checkpoint inside Mexico, looking at about as redneck an American as you can get, saying, "Are you an American citizen? How dare you?" It's like, and who cares? It's freaking laughable.
I know. I'm like Texas of all places. I'm like, you people really are not trying to take the guns from the Texans, are you?
No, I mean, there's the Republic of Texas, and they're not gonna deal it. No, they're. Go ahead, start kicking some doors in Texas and see what kind of flashback you get.
Right. Exactly.
Well, that's the other thing too.
Bang first, questions later.
Exactly. There's going to be like 3 brand new air holes in the door before anyone comes through, from the inside. Because, what you're doing is cultivating an era of fear. And guess what happens when you have people in that era? What you have are a bunch of people that are going to shoot first and ask questions later because they've had it, And it's only going to...
People get pushed too far to either into that kind of provocation or the type, like with Aaron, where they kill themselves. You can push a person too far, you really can. Human beings can only take so much.
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing. You get enough reports coming in from, Deputy Donut badge wearers, that some of their numbers are falling by the wayside because they're going up kicking doors. Every time that happens, I guarantee you, the next jackboot's going to be a little bit more nervous and a little bit more nervous to the point where they say, I'm not doing this shit. And quite frankly, they shouldn't be doing it anyway.
Right. You need to get them to then respond with, I'm not doing that. Right.
Well, that's it. You reverse the fear, and it's not that I'm wishing harm on anyone. Listen, you come and boot at my door, and this is one of the reasons why they had to make sure I was out of the house, because they knew I could defend myself lawfully in all aspects of the word, because they knew who I was, and they knew it was sovereign land. That's why they wouldn't come on it.
Right, exactly.
And yeah, at that time, I had guns in the house, and I'll tell you, if someone showed up at my door with weapons, you're damn straight I'd be defending my family to the death.
Right.
And they knew that. So what they had to do was make sure that I was in a compromised position. They're a bunch of fucking cowards. That's the bottom line. I mean, I could call it something else, but that's all they are. They're just a bunch of cowards. They take orders from their master. Go get this, and I'll give you this treat. Go get that, and I'll give you that treat.
Right. It's mindless.
Totally. Fetch. So I mean, I see a cop now, and the first thing I think of is, hey, Fido, fetch. You ever seen a dog chasing a car? It happens every day.
Oh, no, well, I recently had an episode. I haven't been on the calls with you. I went through a lot of heat back in October. Remember when I was doing my Wyoming Border Patrol, Postal Money, International Box of Seizure incident, which those people who know what I'm talking about were listening back in October. But recently, I don't know, so I get a little touchy. If you've been targeted, you're a little, what's the word, hypervigilant to certain things in your environment, right? You feel it, sense it, think it, you try to be on guard, just go about your business, but still, once in a while, and there was stuff building up, and it was in January or whatever, and I couldn't take it anymore. And so I went, and it was like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, no, this is not adding up, and it was day after day after day, repeat, like, things on me, and I could just feel the pressure. So I said, that's it, I got in my car, and I drove downtown, walked into the police station, and wandered around, and so some officer finds me, peace out. She says, can I help you? I'm like, yes, I want to talk to you about my feelings of being stalked. I can't take anyone on this net, right? She goes, what are you talking about? This is a small town. Right? So I explained to her, and I have the tag number. I explained to her what I did. I followed this car to the next town, 15 miles away. Whenever it was 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, they paused, they would think, they turned the lights down, they were watching. I just didn't like the whole thing. And I said, I want it stopped. And I said, there was another car that followed me in a coffee shop, and I said, I've been a good sport about it. I ignore it most of the time. I just go around it, go about my business, and it's like, whatever, do what you want. If you've got time of the day to follow me, then you've got a lot of time on your hands. Because, I spend hours in the library or on the computer or in the Wi-Fi or whatever, or if it's winter, I'm like a bear in a cave, and I don't come out for days. So, I said, here's the plate. I said, why was this person doing this at 5:30 in the morning? She said, okay, I'll check it. So we had like an hour's conversation. She says, well, she starts getting, asking questions. And I said, well, what's your name? She wants me to fill out, I'm not filling anything out. I'm not saying anything. Well, what's your name? Patrice. What's your last name? I said, you know my last name. I said, I'm asking you for help. And I said, besides, so you guys know who I am. I said, I've been here for several months. I said, Chief of Police has noticed. The Sheriff of the county has noticed. The Chief of the State Police has noticed. Attorney General has noticed. The Secretary of State has noticed. I said, I think you guys know who I am. Right? And she goes, well, I don't know who you are. I've never met you before. I said, Trust me, if you go upstairs and ask the chief who's Patrice, he
Yeah.
knows who I am. Go upstairs, there's a file on me, because I sent you guys a lot of paperwork.
Yeah,
So go find the file, and please understand my piece. So we went through this whole thing. I said, what seems to be innocuous behavior to people who aren't targeted is far from innocuous to those of us who are targeted. I said, so it sounds like, looks like, paranoid, crazy stuff, but I assure you, I don't need a psych eval, I'm not mentally ill, and some very powerful people on the East Coast that are part of a criminal syndicated, element are kind of unhappy with my whistleblowing activity. And I said, instead of being a protected whistleblower, I've been a targeted whistleblower, and I get subjected to things that after a while I'm a good sport about most of the time. I said, but today is the day that I want to talk. I said, you guys have an obligation to protect me for the paperwork that I gave you several months ago, and I'm calling in that tip today. I want you to poke around, ask questions, and make an effort to protect me. She said, okay, I will. And she did. She found that car that followed me, got back to me. She poked around. I said, oh, by the way, there's another incident in the Midwest in another state, blah, 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 with the chief of police and the FBI. And I gave her, I said, if you don't believe what I'm saying, go and follow up on this case and call one of your partners in another state to find out about that incident, okay? So that you can verify what I'm telling you is true. So do your own due diligence. I'll give you enough snippets to verify on your own, and then please get back to me. She said, I will. And she did. And her tune has changed. She came back to me and said, I really want to help you. Where are you staying? Are you okay? Do you, blah, blah. She says, where do you, because I work a few hours in town at the store to make a little bit of FRNs so that I could buy food or personal products. It's, whatever, 50 bucks a week. It's nothing. I mean, it's the bare minimum. I'm at de minimis in order to, function, buy toothpaste or whatever. So she said, where do you work? And I said, I work at the store in town. She said, okay. She checked that out. I said, I'm going to snap. I said, they come to the store and harass me, get in line. I said, I don't know who these people are, but they, I said, it changes. And I told her the Wi-Fi spots I hang out. I said, you people know me. I said, you know me, you know my car, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And she just looked at me, and she said, okay. And I said, you have an obligation to protect me. I said, I have the American community. I said, I am at peace. I carry no arms. I'm a threat to no one. I said, I'm a targeted individual, and I'd really like a little bit of peace in return. I said, I'm here peacefully. I said, you know darn well I do nothing. I bother no one. I spend large amounts of time in the two libraries in town, the one at the university and the one little small one in town. And I said, sometimes I check out videos to get through the night with my little laptop. I said, because the nights are cold and long here. It's winter. And she was very good. She's been good. She's been good, Kate. She really was 100% peace officer with me.
Here's the thing, and I've said this many times, and I know you've heard me say it. What we're dealing with most of the people on the front line, other than the jarheads, are people that are not told what's going on. I gave a living example of the deputy chief of police in the city of Guelph, Ontario, Canada, who, after finding out, quote unquote, what was really going on, he went into serious depression, almost suicidal, because he had it in his mind that he was doing an honorable job as an honorable man, doing his service to community. That's what I deem to be a true cop, someone that really cares about the community. And after 3 years, he retired because he wanted nothing more to do with it. Now, I'll look at that from both sides. Of the man has honor and walked away, but he also has dishonor because he had an obligation to fucking stop it. And in the process of his cowardice, running away, people like me get seriously harmed for doing exactly what you're doing and exactly what he should have been doing, exposing the corruption from the inside.
Right. So I had her check around a few things. I said, these people have this power. I said, who are they? I said, but look, and I gave her a few threads around the country. I said, I've been followed since last May. I said, I can go ahead and check this, that, and everything. And she did. She did due diligence for 2 weeks. She even contacted my mother in another state. And because I got a call from the police because I thought you were dead. Poor thing. So
I know.
So no mother wants to get a call from the police for, is your daughter named Patrice, And she's like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. I asked for the help, and I got it. And so, because one of the first things that this policewoman was asking me, like, oh, are you one of those sovereign citizen people? I said, oh, no, don't start that. I said, oh, no, let's not start that. I said, don't go down there. I said, oh, what you've been trained to, what you've been told.
Well, look,
don't put those two words together. Sovereign citizen, don't do that.
It's an oxymoron. I mean, okay, can we just cover that really quick? Here it is in a nutshell. Yes. Sovereign citizen is an oxymoron. You can't be a master and a slave, a sovereign and a servant. Sorry, that doesn't work. And all it does...
People don't know this. They're being
I know. This is...
Be scared of sovereign citizens.
I know, but that's okay. And that's the bad side of it. Here's the good side of it.
We have to educate them. Yeah, we need to educate them.
Here's the good side of it. Okay, what they're saying out loud is you have to go after anyone that's claims to be a sovereign citizen. Obviously needs psychiatric help because they don't know what the words mean. So they're actually targeting the right individuals, and those that open their mouth and say, "Well, I'm a sovereign citizen," they need to have some time with a dictionary for starters. Black's Law at ninth would probably be a good start, but there's the good and evil in it, and what they're doing, and it's keeping them in honor because if they get a quote someone who says they're a sovereign citizen, they're staying in honor because they're dealing with someone that doesn't know who they are anyway. So I see both sides of that very sharp sword, and it is good and evil. So I did want to clarify that. It's not all bad.
She was innocent to it. She was like trying to figure out like where my head was at or why I was in there talking to her. And after, and I said, you know what, after about an hour, giving her a little bit of background, I said, now that you have a context or a backdrop for why I wandered in, do you get it now? She goes, yeah, actually I do.
Yeah, and that's all it takes. Because these people really don't know what's going on.
But it was the best hour I could have spent with somebody because now she's educated in a small town in a small force. So when the guys are razzing her, she could say no. I talked to I know what she's coming from. And then, since she gave me her email, I sent her a few videos to watch. I sent her the recent one that was published, Menard's thing. She likes it. A 3-hour thing.
Oh yeah, again.
Thank you for sharing. I'm happy that I sent it to her.
Well, that's the thing is they're actually getting an education of what's really going on. Because here's the irony: everything that I exposed, here it is in a nutshell. It was offered up to the cops. Say, listen, all your mortgages are fraud, and I can show you how. And if you want to start arresting these guys, you got yourself a free house. It's already paid for. Yet, no, I want to work for the rest of my life being an asshole. Okay, well, whatever. Talk about oxymoron. That's what I guess they call military intelligence, huh?
Well, don't get me started about the military. I have a military background.
I know, but you know what I mean, right? It's like, you came at it from a position of honor, and that is self-evident in the whistleblowing that you have done. And once people start getting it, like this, and I'm not going to refer to her as a police officer. That is a peace officer. There's a big difference. That is someone that is actually in service to their community, that actually gives a shit about their community. And anytime
she totally cared. She totally cared about what I had to say. Cared about me as an individual. Totally wanted to help me. Absolutely.
Yeah, and something else. I do want to be very clear, and I know there are many like that. Many more than would probably be evident with the actions going around. And when I speak of jarheads and dickwads and badges and all the rest of those, penis totem, 9mm penis totem types, it's not the type of being that you were dealing with. No, there's someone that actually has compassion and has a willingness to do the job that she really thought she signed up for. Now, it's going to be interesting to see how far that gets her and, how much more is going to get exposed. But the thing is, she planted the seed. The tree will grow. The tree will grow.
Yeah, so I figured, I have one good listener. Now I've colored that forth, because I've sent the notices several months ago. Chief of police knows about me. They have a file upstairs. They're like, what is this all about? Who is this character? Why do we care? And then I sent her the video. I don't know who she shares it with. I hope widely, because I encourage that. I like to share widely with anyone that cares about their other office. I said, you're going to watch this and understand, what's going on. And she's like, well, thank you for sharing. She's like, great, thanks. She really wanted to know. She's curious, And this is good. We need to tap that curiosity, that courage, that conviction that underlines it, just like we said with me in the military.
Well, you see, here's the thing, Patrice. Not everyone gets an opportunity to have an hour one-on-one with people like you and myself. And if they did, they'd have their eyes opened. And they're going to start seeing the bullshit illusions that they're being taught that somehow we're ferocious, AK-47 toting, mass terrorists. That's how they'd like to paint us.
Right, tagged, caged, tossed, all that thing. Right, so, meanwhile, we sit in front of computers out of time, we read, we research, we communicate, we talk, we share, we educate, we give everything freely. We live on nothing. We bother no one.
I was going to say,
I'm posing a threat.
Unless my pounding on the keyboard is somehow harming someone, unless my, ranting on the air, truth whore that I am, is somehow, well, I know it's hurting the corruption. That I do know. So, I mean, those that are feeling defensive because of what I do, that only stands to reason that I'm exposing something that needs to be exposed. If you're doing things right, you have no fear.
It turns us up. There are certain things that turn the flame up in you. That sort of this anger comes out. We have a lot of frustration, and we express it. There are certain things that inflame me and passion me. Like I mentioned the Aaron Schwarzenegger. She knew about him. And, I said, stuff like that, is permeating the system. And it's indicative of a widespread bullying mentality with the way to get things done is to bully, badger, intimidate, and beat the shit out of somebody to get it done. That's not necessary. It is not necessary.
No, and especially after they, like I said, as soon as they get to spend a few minutes with us and realize, I had that experience when I was in solitary, going back and forth to court all the time. After about the third or fourth visit there, the guys that were downstairs, they just couldn't figure out what the hell was going on. They're looking at me like, never a bother, always polite, always with a quick I love you, always with a quick, smile and how are you doing and all the rest of it. And I said this before, to the point where the one guy, I think it was fourth, fifth time I was there, he looked at me and says, like, why are you here? Because they couldn't figure it out. It was quote, break and enter into my own home, no less. No, I just went in through the emergency exit I knew was there. That's all. I didn't have to break anything. Sorry, guys, I know my house. But anyway, I was there for 17 years. I know my house. And that they cleaned all that out. Doesn't matter that I had 300 and something plus thousand in the place. They equity what? You're just a tenant anyway. But the bottom line is this: this guy looked at me and said, "Why? Why are you here?" And I said, "Well, some of us have a voice. Some of us have an ability to speak. Some of us have the intellect in which to speak with. For those that are either afraid or are unable to speak for themselves, and it's up to someone like me who can and will and does to do that and speak for those that cannot. Take for example that I'm speaking for you as well. I'm just exposing the bank frauds and all the rest of it. So I'm actually, if you want to look at it in the legal sense or lawful sense, I'm actually on your side, and it's your masters that are unhappy because of what I can do. I've exposed their fraud. I've exposed the criminality of everything that they're about, and that's why they want to take down a musician, singing, songwriting musician, tranny no less. Please.
Right, exactly. It's somebody like me that's got, I can, I have this analytical gift, training experience. I tie things together that other people miss. I can see and absorb large amounts of information and somehow tie it together, distill it, and be able to share it so people are educated. Or expose, that's the whole whistleblower phenomenon, that you can distill something and say, hey, wait a minute, ding, we're behind the curtain thing right on. So that I piece together something over a period of 18 months and go, ding, guess what? State Treasurer moved the money of one state into another state, has these connections, is engaging in racketeering, is a criminal enterprise, needs to be stopped, you need to audit, this is what they did, hired this person, moved the money over here, and I lay it all and I've got, subcommittee in the Senate Finance Committee with his mouth dropped open, asking me in 5 minutes flat, how do you know all that?
Oh, Patrice, I totally get it. I totally get it. It's you're breaking up a lot. If you can move the mouthpiece back a little bit, I think that's part of the problem as well.
Okay. Sometimes is this a better side to the phone? How about this?
Yeah, it's still a bit choppy, but it's you're very audible and it's good. I'm just trying to minimize the clicking and
there's not much I can do with this.
I know.
I have about 18 inches of coil to work with.
No worries, hon. No, I'm just mentioning it in case you can do something. So it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, I don't have much. I'm on a very short leash, as it were.
Yeah, but again, and this is going out to everyone out there. Listen, you don't have to do what Patrice has done and what I've done and what so many of us have done on the front lines here. That's not what we're asking. What we are asking is for you to listen and to learn and to start making the change in whichever way you can, to whatever level you feel comfortable with. Because, these are the demons that we all have to face, and some of us we took on the dragon full face, but it doesn't have to be that way with everyone. We all have our limits, as it were. And I got to say, Patrice, I'm not sure I know what my limit is. I keep thinking I'm getting close to it, and I'm sure you're feeling the same way. Like, how far do they have to push me?
We get tired, and then we feel we're at our limit, and then when we find some rest and rejuvenation brings us back, we can be replenished. I used to have a plant that was like that. It was very, responsive to a little bit of watering. So I always knew it was because it would start to droop, and I'd water it, and it'd spring right up and get all, bright green and turn to the sun. I'm like, wow, that's all it took was a little bit of water. And, I think we're like that. I think we need rest sometimes more than we allow ourselves. But we have to take care of ourselves. It's like the police woman, she said, should I be worried? Are you dangerous? I'm like, no. I said, what happens to me? I said, first of all, I carry no weapons. But second of all, I don't threaten. I said, third of all, I said, if somebody keeps provoking me and badgering me and poking on me, I said, after a while, I said, I get a little sensitive, a lot intense, and very loud. I said, and that scares people. I said, because I start to bark. Then I start to swear. I said, so the mouth comes out. And I said, that bark, is meant to keep people at a distance from me. Like, knock it off. Stop poking me with your fucking stick.
Bingo.
And I said, don't come near me. I said, I might bite. I said, but I don't aggress. I won't jump you. I'm not going to jump to your throat. You have to provoke such a thing out of me, and I'll take it to a point because I'm a good sport, and I have a high threshold. I said, but after a while, I'm going to start barking, and the barking scares people. Barking, growling, totally. I said, you'll know how angry I am. I said, because not only do I get loud first, and the intensity gets cranked up, and the speech gets fast. I said, second, the swears start coming out. Third, the veins in my neck start popping out. I said, that's the point you really need to leave me alone.
No, well, that's it. You've made it very clear that you've been a hibernating bear all winter, and it's not a good idea to poke the bear.
Right, let him come out and find the berries and the spring thaw and the melt and the little, the honey starts to run and trees aren't frozen anymore. Let me sniff around in my environment and sort of adjust to the change of season, Don't poke the bear. Right.
Exactly, and something else, we've talked about this in the past as well, there is a thing called divine providence. And when you stand in the circle of truth to the extent that people like Patrice, myself, and many others will stand, you come under that universal protection. Whether you think it or feel it or not, it's irrelevant. It's part of the universe loves a courageous being. And the only thing that's stopping anyone from doing anything is fear. And you have to really, really have a look at that. And the only thing that conquers fear is love.
Yeah.
Love conquers all. It's pretty straightforward. I take a lot of things, metaphorically, allegorically, and some things quite literal. It's having the discernment to see the difference and applying what you need to when you need to. It's like, I love Bill Donahue. It's like, you can't read the Bible literally and metaphorically, allegorically. You have to choose. You read it literally, you get this shithole mess. You read it metaphorically, allegorical, you get a science book, it's a physics book, it's a biology book, it's astrotheology in its most perfect sense. It is It is perfect math. It is perfect everything when you understand what the book is. It's got so many layers of truth in it, but you have to peel the first one off, and the first one is literal, right? Lose all the literal, everything in that book, and then you'll start to understand what it means. You'll start to understand what is really going on and why it was hidden. I mean, we talked about this last night with Brett. I mean, he was saying that there are 3 species in this universe that actually have our ability, and that is to create a gravity wave or gravity generators, which is self-contained within us. You see, because what's happened here, those that have been tinkering with the DNA and everything else have created something that can outcreate them. And the only way they can control creation is to control that which can outcreate them, and that's what we are. And that is what they're afraid of us waking up to. Sorry, guys, too late. We're there.
Exactly right. We're already on to that.
You know, so it's not a matter of if anymore, where it could have been, 10, 15 years ago. Now it's a matter of when. And the when is now. And that has to be every individual's choice. You have to decide to be, ye are gods, you were told that, and to become part of the universal consciousness. In that you are completely separate.
Right, doing your own, not being stimulated from the outside in, but being from the inside out, finding where to participate, connecting in. I gave you that little example about the patchwork quilt.
Yes.
Quilting parties of old. If there was a newlywed couple or a new baby born in the community or an elderly couple that's, maybe at their end times, they come together, they get the blanket, everybody comes together, and there's this beautiful quilted blanket for whatever occasion, and it's a beautiful gift because it's all these little contributions, but they come together fast versus one person trying to stitch together the whole blanket, right?
Oh, yeah. It's like
look at party for a couple of hours, bang, there it is.
Look at the Amish as a prime example. There it is. Maybe 2 or 3 weekends out of a year, the whole community gets together to put up a house and a barn for the newlyweds. That's already
the barn raising, right? The quilting parties, right? All
absolutely, and it's all done.
It's done because many hands make light work. Right?
And the whole community chips in to get all the materials, and they do it together as a community. And the only thing expected of that couple is that when the next couple is, they partake in the same thing, and that's how you build a unified community, albeit.
Right, everybody participate. You participate to the extent that you're capable.
To the
extent that you're capable, right? So even those that are less able, we have some members that are born limited. They participate within their capability. The elderly within their capability. The little babies within, everybody has a place.
Oh, and Muggsy just asked me if it's okay to simulcast the show over Will Spirit. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Here's my standing rule as a musician, okay? And I know copyright law. It's all bullshit, okay? Because
the notes came out. Go get them, catch them back, catch them like leaves blowing in the wind. There they go chase them.
Oh, it looks like she tried to get on the show, and it's looking like it's down, but. Again, here's a shout out to those that are tuned in. Can you let me know you're hearing us okay? That would be great. Normally, I would be told if they weren't. So just refresh the page, Muggsy, and that should be here. I better type that if you can't hear me. Oh, I'm so blonde Irish. All right.
I've been listening to I was trying to miss him last night, but the timing of things and the weather stuff affects me here. Obviously, the way that I'm living in my sort of Spartan conditions. So I was listening to his stuff, and I had emailed you that business about the gravity prediction thing, weird stuff that I used to do recently when I worked in Washington, D.C. The medallions that they placed in various places in the earth. And I had wanted to talk to him about that, but one of these days, I'll connect on the show together. That would, because the gravity predictions is something that we used to give out, but at the time that I was young, I was, whatever, my early 20s, a college intern, whatever, I didn't really know what that was all about then, but I had a lot of questions.
Well, Patrice, what I'll do then, I'll talk to Brett and get a contact phone number from him, and you and him are two people that absolutely need to connect based on
the show. It would be good to get us on the show for the listening audience, right? It's kind of like back in the day with my, postal money order, routines when I was. By the way, Kate, someone's like, how do I send you mail to you? So I started laughing. My father said, well, I've had several incidents with registered mail and postal orders. I said, believe me, the Postmaster General in town stuff with me in a 100-mile radius. I said, so if you just send something to Patrice, the General Jurisdiction Post, trust me, it'll be safe for me behind the counter. No sooner did I have that email than like 3 days later, Syncrenicity style, right? I walk into the post office to mail something out, that I was trying to communicate, going out, and I'm in line, and I get to the counter, and the postmaster goes, hi, Patrice. I had been several months, but they knew exactly who I was. Like, hi, Patrice, how are you?
Here, one sec. Eric, can you grab the rabbits back? Can you grab some carrots, please? Thank you. Sorry, I have a friend that visits, and I like to make sure he has something to eat. He's very patient, and he actually comes right up to the deck. So.
Rabbits, yes. The deer. I was listening to whoever it was the other night when I was talking about the deer. I think it was Kyler who was talking about the deer and taking the picture.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Like, oh yeah, the first few times I got on the show with you back in the fall, I had deer every single time.
You were telling me. Yeah, and by the way, your phone line is quite choppy. You're getting through okay, though. I just wanted you to know that they are messing with us.
They're messing with us, because this is a landline, like, ruggedized phone in the middle of nowhere, so.
Yeah, well, there you go. Muggsy called back in. I'm going to see if her line's any better. She couldn't get back on because of they've been hacking her and Brett all day, so that's what I was.
Well, this is standard. They used to have traveling so bad back in the fall. The thing tomorrow I heard on the Global Fact radio show the other night. They're having a panel or something like that where there's 2 people for, 2 people against the opt thing, or they're going to dig into that some or whatever. Are you familiar with what's going on with that? Can you speak to that?
One of the things I do. I'm going to do a little plea out to I don't generally mention people on the air, but I'm having a bit of issue with personal attacks that one individual is making on another, and I'm going to urge, ask the host of a show on Global Fact, Tony. I'm going to ask that you stop attacking Kevin Burnett, whether he's a con artist or not is irrelevant. What is relevant is what he exposed. Can we just keep our eye on the prize here?
Yes, that was when I communicated to you. I was stunned by that.
Yeah, he is. I'm getting a lot of feedback, and I'm going to tell you, Tony, you're not doing yourself favors, because too many people see too many wonderful things of what came out of what Kevin has done. So, where is he? Oh, here you go. There, carrots are down. Anyway, and I'm saying that as a goodwill gesture to Tony, to back it down, because there is no love in hate mongering and defaming anyone, whether you agree with what they're doing or not. You got to keep your eye on the prize. I can't even think of how many people, because of what Kevin exposed, how many people's lives were saved and how many people have been exposed because of it. So let's keep an eye on the love prize here and not that hate-mongering shit that's been going on. That's just a plea, not an attack of any kind whatsoever, because you, as a radio host like me, like all of us, have a responsibility to our listeners to make sure that the right message gets across and we leave our personal fucking garbage out of it.
Yes, I was stunned. I was really surprised when that came spewing out the way it did, almost in a volcanic way, and I was like, whoa, and I'm like, well, okay, dial it down, for one, so we can hear what you're saying. 2, if you really do have irrefutable evidence or whatever it is you're claiming to support your allegations, you need to either post that or it needs to be discussed. It needs to be aired. You don't just throw that. This is exactly the kind of thing we all work in the light warrior realm to guard against and to be scrupulous about, in checking our sources, verifying our data, doing deep research before we just go and spew. And then even when we do spew, and you're intense, I'm intense, we can really get the intensity up, we can bark. Even for those that we're calling you criminal, thugs, thieves, liars, grifters, and everything else, we don't mean them harm. And we're not...
Well, exactly.
We know what's done. We don't like what they've done. We're not attacking their being.
Yes.
We don't like their actions, and we want it put in check. We want it stopped. We want it changed enough.
And here's the other risk that the radio hosts, if they're going to do this, if they're going to attack individuals, especially those doing the work that they're doing, trying to get truth exposed, you are going to come across and be branded a shill.
Yes.
I promise you that, because people will take it for so long. I've met Kevin Annette down at the Mohawk Reservation at the residential school there. I've met with 3 older ladies that actually went to the school and verified a lot of information, including one of the trees that they pointed at that was there when they were kids, very big oak tree, and the one said, "I remember 3 children hanging from that tree."
That's sick, too. So that's sick. Even if Kate, even anybody who didn't have firsthand experience with the individuals or with Kevin's work has to appreciate the amount of sacrifice for decades that he's already spent, and number 2, take the time to watch the 2-hour video where he has those individuals, some of those women and men that survived that, speak to their own testimony and have their own audiovisual affidavit.
Anyway, I just felt it necessary to bring that up because I've been getting a lot of negative feedback regarding Tony and what he has been saying, and I'm.
He's a detractor. Then he's detracting no substance. I mean, what he claims to have irrefutable evidence, but there's nothing substantive in what he says, other than his own emotional vitriol.
Exactly. And we do have Muggsy. How are you doing, Sam?
Hi, great. I just
Finally.
got another call. No static.
Nice.
But when I call into your show, I get static, and then I went to go look at the Blog Talk page, and it says, "Oops, we can't get it." And I've refreshed it, and it's still not coming up. So there's something going on.
Yeah, well.
Something going on. It's me and Kate talking. They don't like that. They've been trying to stop that from.
And the last thing I wanted too is to have you and Brett in on this call. So. It all stands to reason. This is a silly game they want to play. Knock yourselves out. All you're doing.
Over me to make sure I didn't get on the phone with them, right?
It's just strengthening our position, and we laugh at it. Fools. So anyway, Muggsy, we got like 15 minutes. I want to hear from you.
Okay, what do you want to know?
Well, I don't know. What do you want to tell me?
Well, I got some really good information. As far as the planet, and what I'm doing is I'm calling my intuitive friends and seeing what dreams they're getting and what's going on with the planets. And of course, you and I have talked about your dream that was so profound, and others are having these really profound dreams that are giving us a glimpse of what's going on. And one of the things that I've been shown recently is that imagine every single person having their own timeline right now, and it's wrapping around the planet. And what that looks like as a visualization is like a ball of yarn, and how it's all wrapped up together. And every little segment is somebody's timeline. So that's how many different timelines we have going on right now, and how many different paradigms that are being played out. And once you get out of the karma, once you do your homework and you know what's going on, you can stand back and take like a broadside view of everything that's going on the planet and all the different matrices that are being played. And what has happened since the 21st is that anybody that like the energy is supposed to run forward in the stream. That's positive, that's learning. But anybody that's running negative, which is like retrograde, it's going to go backwards and the planet won't stand for it. So if you are doing little stuff like mind games, manipulation, or things like that, then it's just going to be a matter of like feeling bumped in the head, you're just going to be jolted a little bit. But if you're being really negative and you're going backwards and you hit that wall, you're going to hit it really fast, and it's going to demise. And a lot of these negative paradigms are going to start collapsing. And that's what's going on with the Vatican, with the Queen, with the government, with everything that we're watching around us now. If they're not moving in a universal love frequency, which is forward, positive, then they're going to extinguish themselves. And I think we're seeing that now.
Right, they're going to be shunted away from any little gaslighting things, frauds, lies, all these little things that they're doing, used to doing out of habit. It's being curtailed now. It's being shunted. It's being stopped in some way. Battery being taken out. They're meeting the resistance because we're all moving in one direction and they're getting they're trying to pull back against something that's way more than what is being accommodated for them now. Well,
it's like I don't know if you caught wind of the dream I had. It was a kind of an amethyst-hued, violet, indigo, purple, monstrous tidal wave that came ashore, and as far as I could tell, there was no damage, just a lot of water, wet, and it just came ashore. And it was. I really wish I could show the film from my head. It was. It's still overwhelming. It was beautiful. And it was just this monstrous, miles-high wave that came ashore of it. But it was, like I said, the hues of it were just stunning, and there was nothing threatening about it. To me, it was like the violet wave, the spiritual energy, was finally washed ashore, and it was so huge and overwhelming. We're there. We're there. That's all I can say from it. We're there, and now it's manifesting. Oh, sounds like Muggsy's got hacked again.
Yeah, it's going again. So I'm not going to talk that much longer. But yeah, it's definitely, we're moving forward. We're making progress. Everybody chipping in and doing their piece is really helping our golden age come to fruition.
Absolutely. Well,
Can you hear how bad that is?
Oh yeah. We got 10 minutes. Don't worry about it. Stick it out, and then we'll stick it to them. How's that?
Okay. And then the other thing that people should know is that the Vatican has opened up their files for the Lucifer telescope and all the ET documents that they have, and NASA has opened up their files recently, and they're showing their files on the moon and the different planets and what's manifesting there.
About time.
Yeah, it is. But I think that, honestly, we had to come to this consciousness where we could handle it, because so many people just really are not mature enough to handle it spiritually.
No, that's exactly it. And what's been happening over the last little while is, and I've watched it firsthand, more and more people are awakening to what's going on. And I hate using it's a bit of a cliche word, awakening. What's happening is it's more of a realization of what's really going on, and people are coming to terms with it, and they're ready to accept the fact that they're more than just meat sticks.
Right. When you're talking about internalizing concepts, internalizing information, so that it has a chance to update your well-being. Like if you have the time to sleep on something, dwell on something. You know, we used to have this problem in the military when satellites first came out some years ago. If you went too fast, you'd get a blurry picture. But if you spent a little bit more, there's a factor called dwell time. We could learn to increase the dwell time, so the satellite dwells over one area a little bit longer, and we get. So what you're talking about is dwell time, Kate. You know, that people are having more dwell time on information in order to accumulate a more clear picture of what's going on. What you use awareness, awakening, realization, internalization. There's crystallization going on as well.
Anyway, just letting you know, I had to mute Muggsy there. She's got it clear on her end. It's on the Blog Talk radio end that it's happening. So I'm gonna.
The intermediary is causing the problem. Yeah.
Yeah. So the third party is creating the issue. So I'm gonna unmute her again.
crackling. I was hearing a lot of crackling. I wasn't sure if I fell off or not. So.
No, it's not you. I just unmuted Muggsy. So, Muggsy, if you got anything to say it now, hon, while we can hear you at all.
Oh, my God, it's like a rainstorm on the phone line.
Yep.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Yeah.
And I was muted, so it's not even my phone that's doing it because I'm completely muted, so it's the Blog Talk system that's doing it.
They do not want to hear what you have to say tonight, or any of what we're saying.
Oh, well, she's talking about opening information. I mean, like NASA's opening, the Vatican's opening. You know, this is why DOJ went after Aaron, because I don't know if a lot of people know, but one of his projects, not the one that's in the news that he's after the literature, technical research, right, the big issue with it. The other really big project that Aaron was doing, Kate, I don't know if you know, was to make pacer free. Was one of the first things, because they were making it pay for access to a lot of the case law and a lot of the truth without the judicial system and all the law and all the things that you guys talk about, everything that you guys have tried to bring forward, and all the good judgments, the rulings, the stuff that's on pacer in the rulings, in the citations, in the case law, in the statutes, is hidden in those federal court cases, and they suppress that. Aaron was bringing forward pacer information. That was one of his big projects. You know what pacer is, right? It's the computerized system for federal courts all throughout the United States. It's where they put all the electronic records for all the case filings, the petitions, the pleadings, the summary judgments, all of it. It's in there.
Exactly, and by the way, Sam had to hang up because I couldn't even put the call on hold. Everything froze up here as well, so they are not liking what they're saying. And I just got invited to Wolf radio show tonight, right after this. So, you know, and he hasn't been hacked in 4 weeks since the last time Muggsy was on. So let's see what happens. She took the words right out of my face. I was going to say that. She typed them, I said them. Anyway, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to head over there. Wolf Spirit Radio, just Google it. I have no idea what the link is. Here, tell you what, got a link. And let's see if we can see if we get hacked over there. And I'm not sure what the call-in number is. What I can do, if you do want to show up there as well, Patrice, I'll email you the phone number to call in if you want to do that and see how it goes there.
Okay.
It's up to you. You know.
I don't know. I've been standing at this payphone for 2 hours.
I know. I think you've had enough, and it's time to get back into your woman cave, your bear cave.
Yeah, my little hibernation thing. You can send me a link so that I could tune in, you know, and listen, or get on the chat or something. You know, when I get back to my spot.
Yeah.
I gotta get in the car and drive another 15 minutes or so.
All right, kiddo. Well, we got like 4 minutes left here, so.
Yes, let's say our thank yous, good nights, pleases, and prayers, and all that stuff, you know.
Absolutely, and I got to say thank you so much for calling in. Yeah, I can talk for 2 hours, but it's always a lot better when I have someone sentient to talk with. It always seems to go in more perfect directions, and I know a lot of wonderful things went across the airwaves tonight, and in terms of empowering people, and that's what it takes. You've got to empower yourself. You've got to look in that mirror and say, hey, I'm good. And you are.
Well, hey, you're a voice, and I want to be a source of encouragement. My thing is always, when I first came into the show, if I can do it, and I was fearful, and I was beaten down, you can do it too. I just want to be a source of encouragement. And you give voice to that. You amplify that.
Oh, yeah. Well, again, I tell everyone, and I'll tell you the same. This is your radio show. I'm just pushing the buttons and making it a place where people can show up and air what they need to say, because my track record is very clear. I'm completely accessible. The radio show is completely accessible. It is your place to show up, and you know, treat all the shows just like it's just a phone call, guys. So I love to hear from people. I really do. You know, because you know, as a radio host type, whatever we are. We do like to know that what we're saying. I get feedback, of course, through Facebook and emails and Skype and what have you. But it's really nice just to, you know, when Jeremiah phones in or And when anyone phones in, that's a voice of encouragement for me in that, what I'm saying is resonating because that's what I need it to do, because I need to know that I'm finding the truth as well, and this is how we bounce it back and forth off each other. And
right. It's so good to tag down other people who are doing their contributions, they're doing what they can. So I think I should distinguish the Tony that you were sort of chastising earlier. It's not your Tony. It's not you.
Yeah, Tony Boudreau from Global Facts.
Tony, it's not your Tony.
Yeah.
That's called
Tony.
Yeah.
It's a different Tony. Yes, I should have clarified that. Excuse me. But again, and it wasn't chastising. I am concerned for his own reputation and for his own character, because when you go out of your way to assassinate another character, you're just showing your mirror. And all I'm asking is, if you don't agree with a man, that's fine. That's one thing. But you better look at the intent and look at the actions and look at the net results of what came out of that before you start bashing an individual just because somebody said it's okay. And the amount of disinfo that's been flying around Kevin for years is beyond sickening. And rightfully so. Kevin keeps a lot of people at arm's length because he's tired of getting stabbed in the back. And that's been the standard fare for him for. I know his story, and there are not many people that one would have endured it, and two would still be marching up to Parliament Hill with an arrest warrant.
Right, well, that was my argument. Who else is? I don't see the people throwing darts with papers in hand, knocking on the door in the Vatican.
Yeah, I'm just so dismayed at so many radio hosts, and there are a lot of them out there that are very quick to, attack and say whatever they want about whoever they want, saying, well, I'm not going to do what the freedom movement people are doing because, I'll end up in court and doing this. Well, fine, we'll take the fucking heat for you, and you got something to talk about,
Right, they sit in the comfort of their studio with their headphones, and we're the ones being checked out of the farms arrested, paying case and cuffs.
Exactly. So anyway, big thank you to all the listeners who stuck it out through all the fun that we've had tonight. And, of course, to Critical Mass Radio Online for the platform. Thank you, Paul, Lisa, crew at Critical Mass Radio for giving this beautiful platform. And don't forget, guys, we have brand new host on Critical Mass Radio here, Greg of In5D with his co-host Heidi on In5D Radio starting Monday. And don't forget, tomorrow night, Tammy Pepperman and Pat Tooley are on with Leaving the Farm. And guarantee it, I'll be there, and we're going to have some fun. Always a treat. Much love to all. And Patrice, thank you so much for calling in. It has been an absolute pleasure to have a chance to chat with you. It's been too long.
It's been long, I know. It's great. Thank you for having me.
Anytime, kiddo. Love you.
Call again.
love you, and thank you for all that you do. And to the listeners, go out and be the change you want to see. It doesn't have to be anything big. It could be something as simple as writing something on the back of a matchbook and leaving it for someone to find. That's it. Much love to all, and safe travels, Patrice. Go get warm, and we'll chat sooner than later. Of course, on email. I'll be looking forward tomorrow. Okay, kiddo. Well, we're off the air. I'll get Brett's number for you and get that forwarded. You guys definitely need to hook up, especially with your information on the gravity medallions and stuff like that. Okay?
Nice. Okay. Well, I'll call in again when I can.
Okay, love. I appreciate it when you do, and you'll always be on the air. So, okay? All right.
Thanks again. Okay. Good night.
Good night, everyone. Much love, Patrice. Safe travels, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow night on Leaving the Farm. Take care.
Bye.